Hey everybody, it's Rob from Flailthroughs. This is Gundam Battle Operation 2, and there is an update about Gundam Battle Operation 2 for North American, and I assume EU and Australia and all those other releases. The game is due out sometime soon, and they are holding a pre-order well, not a pre-order campaign, but a pre-release campaign called Mobilize Your Vote, where the top 10 mobile suits selected by visitors to the website, whose link you obviously find in the descriptions, will be given away to new players of the game for free when the game comes out here. Now, there's a couple of interesting things about this. One is that the campaign runs from July 19th, which is tomorrow actually, so they've started it ahead of time, to August the 16th, so we can assume, quite reasonably that the release is sometime after that. There had been a rumor for August the 21st, I believe it was, which makes sense with that date of the 16th. That gives them time to get things together to give away those mobile suits. So yeah, that makes sense. As it is, we're just going to go through what's available, because that tells us a little bit of something too. Assuming that every suit they're going to have included in the game is on this list, the US version of Battle Operation 2 is probably going to be about 6 months, maybe a little more behind the Japanese version. Not the end of the world, kind of something I expected, but it means, some of the things that you've seen on my channel so far, like the gym trainer, among other things, will probably not be available. But I'm just going to go over things real quickly just to give my impressions as to, what is and isn't worth voting for. Under Mobile Suit Gundam, we've got the Ag-Eye, we've got the standard Goof, the early production Gelgoog. That is a 3-star drop, and it is really good. It is one of my favorites. You've seen it a lot. I would recommend voting for that. Zagak, I believe, is middling rarity. It's kind of fragile, but it can be a really strong raid type. The Dom's a decent general. The Gundam is another good choice. You can vote more than once, I'm told, so you can just keep voting for the ones you want to see the most. The Rick Dom, the Gan, the standard Gelgoog, the Zaku Type S, the Gun Tank, and the Gun Cannon. Gun Cannon I would also say is good. It's a solid support. It has balancers, so it has a little bit of an edge on melee against other unarmed mobile suits. It can combo to and from its cannon and sniper rifle very easily. So yeah, if I had to, my top recommendations from the Mobile Suit Gundam tier are the Gun Cannon, the early production Gelgoog, and the Gundam. Basically, I'm probably more or less going to tell you to prioritize, high rarity things, because the other things are not going to be difficult or expensive to get in the DP shop later. And you're also much more likely to drop them in the lottery, so yeah. The Dwudge is I forget whether it's a 2 or 3 star, but it's got a really strong heat tomahawk that you can do some really good damage with. So that's a possibility. Gym Command Space type and the Gym Command standard type from Gundam 0080 are common as dirt. Do not waste your vote on those. You will see zillions of them before you will be sick of seeing them in the lottery within your first week of playing. Gym Sniper 2 is a solid support mobile suit, moves fast, has a unique ballistic sniper rifle. It can be worth it. The Gun Cannon mass production type is excellent. I would recommend that. Also recommend the Gym Cold Districts type. It's only really viable at medium, shortish range, but it does a lot of damage at that range, so it's worth checking out. The Hygog is very good. It has a double dodge roll, and I don't know if they will have improved its hitboxes the way they have for the Japanese version with the build of the game we get. I hope so. Zagak E is a raid with a dodge roll. That's worth considering. Let's see. Down here we've got, for 0083, we've got the Gym Kai. Again, very common, very easy to get, assuming they don't completely overhaul the DP shop. That you don't really have to worry about that one in terms of voting. The Zamel is very strong. It's immune to stun. It does a lot of damage. It's worth it. Drosy is not bad, not difficult to get, has really good melee damage in space, very maneuverable, well, very fast, but, it's up to you, of course, it's all up to you, obviously, but I wouldn't. I would save it for something of a little bit higher tier. Zaku F2 is a good mobile suit, not that difficult to get. Dom Trope and Empowered Gym, probably, either or both would be worth it if that's something that appeals to you. They're both pretty good mobile suits. Gundam Pixie is worth it. It is a stealth mobile suit. There's not a lot of those in the game at the moment. It's basically, if this is the build of the game I'm expecting us to see, it's the Pixie or the Agai, and the Pixie is the better of those two. The standard Ifrit, also from Cross Dimension 0079, which was a Super Famicom game. It's worth it. It's not difficult to get. I think it's a 2-star. It's one of the few I think it's the only thing in the game before the camphor hits, which we seem to be, that can use the shotgun. And the shotgun heat sword combo does a lot of damage and causes knockdown. It's worth it. The Goof Custom is the Goof Custom. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people after that, and it is a solid mobile suit. It's worth having. Gatling Shield fires quickly, stuns well, does a lot of damage. It has a heat rod that I find difficult to use, but it's not bad. And it still has a 3-hit melee combo. So yeah, it's a pretty good hybrid raid that can do well up close or from a distance. Gundam EZ8 it has a unique charging melee attack. It is a general type mobile suit with most of the standard general amenities, a dodge roll, 2 melee hits, the ability to use a rocket launcher, which stuns. It's worth having because that charging melee attack it has can do a lot of damage and get you out of a lot of trouble. The Gym Sniper and the Gym Ground type from 8th MS team are both very, very common. Don't bother. Likewise, the mass production type gun tank, it is not bad, it's not going to be hard for you to get, so it's not worth, if you're looking to maximize the best quality mobile suits to get for your votes, yeah, don't. Gundam ground type weapons rack might be worth a vote. It's very strong, it does a lot of damage, it's good at keeping itself out of trouble at short range. Gundam Ground might actually be worth it because, again, if they don't change the underlying systems, there's not going to be a lot of ways to get it until it hits the recycle ticket store, and it is a decent mobile suit. Zaku 1 Commander type is decent at lower costs. It's actually really quite good at lower costs, but being a lower cost mobile suit, it's not too difficult to get. So might not be worth your vote. It's up to you. From the Gundam Blue Destiny side story, we've got the Ifrit Custom and Blue Destiny Unit 1. I'd say they're both, they were both high rarity mobile suits on release. They are both worth having. They both have the exam ability, which increases their speed, attack, and defense. But when the exam runs out, their heads and their legs are crippled, and you have to get repairs if you, don't die first. The Ifrit is a raid type, so it's a little bit more fragile against generals. Actually, I forgot, they're both raid types. The Ifrit is a lot more in your face. You have to get close with it to do the most damage. Blue Destiny is kind of the equivalent. It's more focused on range, I'd say, than close up, but it can do both just fine. Probably both worth a vote. Garrett Schmitzer's Zaku 1 is a general with a dodge roll, and it can equip the Rakaten bazooka that the Dom Tropin has, which is a pretty powerful weapon. It also has a shield and a smoke dispenser, which like the Ifrit smoke dispenser, grants you temporary stealth. It's worth thinking about. It was difficult to get. It was a prize for like a special promotion they did one month. And showed up, I think, in the recycle ticket store after that. Oh, I'm getting mobile suits mixed up. The Schmitzer Zaku was exclusive to the recycle ticket store, as I recall. So there weren't a lot of ways to get that, and it's a decent machine, but not outstanding. It might be worth your vote just because if you get it for free, it'll be the easiest you'll ever get it. So that might be worth thinking about. Okay, so the Zuda is not too difficult to get. It is an excellent machine. It will end up in the DP store relatively quickly. if things haven't changed, because that is one of the first mobile suits that was released in the Japanese game. So it's not going to be difficult for you to get. It won't probably even require tokens to get the Zuda if you save up your in-game currency. So probably it's an excellent machine. It would be worth people starting with, but it is not necessarily worth a vote when you could be getting something rarer. Likewise, the Zaku 1 sniper type, it's excellent. It's a little slow, but if you're good at aiming Sturmfausts and such, you can defend yourself up close with it. It was my favorite early in. I've kind of moved on to other things as I've gotten more into the Gelgug beam rifle play. I'm not as good with the Zaku 1 sniper as I used to be. Plus, I think newer mobile suits have just kind of overpowered it a little bit, so it's worth having. I don't know if it's worth a vote in this case. Then there's the Jim Striker, which excellent melee machine. It can combo from one melee weapon to the other. It also had, it was one of the first things in the game to have maneuver armor, which reduces your chances of getting stunned while you are boosting. That's very important for mobile suits like the Striker that do not have a dodge roll. So that might be worth a vote, but it's another one that is not going to be very difficult to acquire if it's not given to you at the beginning. Likewise, the Zaku tank, it's not bad. You will probably see it soon because I've got a request for it, but again, don't think it's worth the vote. I'm basically going to advocate voting for 2 and 3 stars generally because they are going to serve you very well and be harder to get without them being given to you at the beginning of the game. Thunderbolt Gundam and Psycho Zaku are both space-only 500-point machines. Thunderbolt is a raid, Psycho Zaku is a general. They both have a lot of weapons to the point where it can be difficult to figure out how to best switch between them, and they're very maneuverable, which if you want lessons in using forced injectors in space, these and the Draw C are both good to get. We are down to the MSV category. We're almost through the list of what they're showing us as will be available in the game when we start. The Gym Light Armor is common and cheap, and it is excellent in low-cost rooms, and it is not worth voting for because you will never have a problem getting one. Full Armor Gundam, worth your vote. It is a support with a shoulder cannon, some missiles built into its shoulder area, and also a double beam rifle, which stacks on damage very nicely. The Juagu has a pretty decent missile into beam or vice versa combo. It also has it can also fire its beam weapons while boosting, which is a very rare thing. It's a decent support. The prototype Gundam is a raid. It starts with the beam javelin and can acquire a pair of double beam sabers to use. Either one do pretty good damage. It's a decent machine, especially when you pair it with a hyper bazooka. The Zogok is available. The Zogok is kind of tough to use and very niche, but I adore it. It has a dodge roll. It's a general that's focused on melee. It has basically a punch and a heat sword to swap between at close range. The punch is one of the few weapons in the game that does not stagger but causes outright knockdown. And it's a good machine. I like using it. It's kind of a niche, kind of difficult to use sometimes, but I like it. Zaku FS, not difficult to get, worth using, but it suffers from being a general without a dodge roll, so that is not necessarily easy to use. In later updates, assuming we will not be current when the game goes live in North America, it will eventually have maneuver armor, but I don't think the lower levels at least do when you start. The Zaku Cannon, another one very easy to get, so not worth voting for, but worth using. Has the stealth bestowing smoke dispenser of some of the other Xeon mobile suits, and a really good cannon that has really good range and does high stunning damage. The G3 Gundam, definitely worth a vote. Again, this may be before some of the changes that made it a lot more viable, but it has maneuver armor. It is a raid type with with twin bazookas and a beam rifle, and you end up doing a lot of tick damage at a distance, and then just having, moving in with melee when you can, which is not that frequently. It's worth using. It's just not, again, if we're far enough back in the game, it's not as easy to use or as good as it will ultimately be. Zaku Desert type is cheap and relatively common, not really worth voting for, but it's not bad to use. With a bazooka, it has stun, it has dodge roll, and it has a wrist-mounted missile launcher that you can follow up on a bazooka stun with very effectively. The high mobility Gelgug is one of my favorites. It is super fast. It can use the Gelgug beam rifle, which is one of my favorite weapons. It also has both the MMP-80 machine gun sub-weapon of the early production Gelgug and the grenades of the general. So, well, they're all generals, but the mass production type, let's say. So yeah, it is an excellent machine. It's worth having. At level 1, it's 450 points. It has forced injectors, so you can do a lot of good maneuvering with that. That is worth having. The Gem Sniper Custom, again, not difficult to acquire, but might actually be worth your vote because it has a very powerful charging sniper rifle. It can also be used with a twin beam gun or, I believe, hybrid bazooka up close. So it's versatile, and it has a couple of beam pistols as a backup weapon and a unique wrist-mounted beam saber. So it's a good machine, and it's one of the better sniper types. So that, again, even though it's not difficult to get otherwise, in my opinion, probably worth your vote. The Gelgug Cannon has a very powerful beam cannon backpack with a long cooldown. Also, a decent grenade launcher as a standard, or rocket launcher as a standard weapon, and a wrist-mounted grenade launcher as a sub-weapon. It can do a lot of damage. It's not bad at all. It's, I believe, another high rarity one, probably worth voting for. The high mobility Zaku late model. It's better in space than on ground, in my opinion, but it is not bad. I think the standard high mobility Zaku here is a little bit better because it can use the 4-tube missile launcher, which is really good, and has a Zaku machine gun with 100 rounds of ammunition as a backup weapon, so you don't have to reload very often, and you have a primary source of damage while you're waiting for the reload on that rocket launcher. Which, again, if we're far enough back, that may be a substantial reload. They have shortened it in recent months, and that does help. Under MSX, we've got the Gotcha, which is an excellent machine. It has a dodge roll. It might have a double, I forget, but it does have forced injectors also. It has a unique hammer gun that causes stagger and missiles that can fire while boosting. If you're into fighting with a lot of mobility, it is a very good choice. Oops, scroll down too far. Lastly, the high mobility Zaku ground type is... I actually find the standard high mobility Zaku better on the ground, but it's not bad, and it can use, it has some grenades that do some really serious damage. Again, I think the standard high mo is better, but it's not bad. The Gem Night Seeker has a lot of boost. It has a unique skill that lets you plant an air strike on a friendly pilot that is using the Night Seeker so that they can kind of deliver it to the enemy. I have never seen many practical good uses of that, but it's also a relatively low-cost mobile suit that can use a bazooka and dodge roll, and that is worth considering. It's also ridiculously overpriced in-game, so voting for it now and getting the level 1 for free is not a terrible idea. So that is the roster that they are showing us so far. Right now, and the top score are the Gundam, the Thunderbolt Gundam, Blue Destiny 1, the Gundam Ground, the Pixie, the Full Armor, the Goof Custom, and the Psycho Zaku. Not showing us 10, sadly, because I'd like to see what the other two that are top rated are. But in terms of, things to start the game with, this is a decent little care package. It includes some good things for space, it has some good all-rounders, good raids, a good support, some of the better generals. I would really love to see the early production Gelgug in this list. In fact, I am going to vote for it right now. But it's not a bad list so far. I think this has promise if the rankings stay the same. But we've got about a month on this, so that is what is going on with the US release of Gundam Battle Operation 2. We will find out more soon. We'll find out what build of the game we're looking at, how far back we're going. If we're going far enough back, I may actually have some archived videos I wasn't intending to use that may suddenly be relevant again. But it's, we've got some information. They are promoting the game. They are looking to give us a good roster of stuff to start it with. So that is not bad. So that's going to do it for this extra video. If you got any questions or comments, as always, let me know, because I want to hear from you. But yeah, we've got some good news, and the game is coming. Just, we know for a fact it's not coming before the middle of August. So until next time, everybody take care and have fun. Later!